Hello, gang. Give me a wave if you can hear me. Hello, Mr. Russo. You have to work on that beard if you're locked in, locked in for a few months. I hope you got your clippers at home. Who else do I see here? Hey, Corbini. Mr. Vox, thanks for your message. It was 4:30 a.m. when I was awake, not 3:30. The clocks changed in the US, haven't yet changed in the UK. But thanks for checking in on me. Hi, Susan. Hi, Gilad. Well, this is great to see so many people I know. Awesome. Hey, Jen. Hi, Heather. Hi, Rod. I'm not going to do individual hellos to everybody, but this is great. So, hi, gang. It's the top of the hour, and I'm going to begin. And I think people will join us as time goes on. Please keep yourself muted. I've set it to mute everyone as they come in, but somehow some people can get past that. I did a call last week. I hope you've seen it. If you haven't, check your email because we sent it out on how to lead in challenging times. We had 500 people on it live. 1,000 or so people have asked for copies of it. It's gone out now. We put it on YouTube and sent it out privately to people. I really recommend you watch that. But one of the challenges I had on that call was some people would hit their share screen button and it would automatically share with everybody. It was interesting, challenging session, that one. My kids burst in, there was noise, there was, talk about having to lead in challenging times. I was having to model it live and in the moment. So I wonder, I think I can do something clever here. Can I pin my video? So I might try that in a second. If we get more people, I will pin my video. So, oh, thanks, Mark. Yeah, so Mark's modeling already for you guys that you can use the chat box here. Hi, Alison. Wow, hi, Christine. It's great to see so many of you here that I haven't seen for a while. Hey, Luke. That's awesome. Hello, Storm. So I recommend you watch that video. And here's the context for today. I was going to say I caught myself being afraid, but I did. It's not true. Monique caught me being afraid. And she said, I've never seen you so concerned and worried. And somehow it snapped me out of it. I forget how she said it, but it just snapped me out of things. And I realized I've been sitting around waiting for someone to come and save me, to help me, to tell me what to do. And this was not one of those moments. This is one of those moments where you step up or you don't. And I had to choose to step up, and I stepped into leadership and really reflected on where can I go the extra mile for everyone I know. So for my community, for my one-on-one clients, for my group coaching clients, we put all sorts of things into the mix. Every one of my private clients has my cell phone. They can text me anytime now. We have a group coaching program where we use Slack for communicating, and I've turned on notifications. So it's like a hotline to me anytime they want to ask a question. And then I was thinking about my wider community. Anyone who's ever been to an intensive, anyone who's ever been a private client of mine or been in a group with me, well, I can serve them too. Let me see what I can do. And so these calls are a result of that thinking of how can I be there for my people, for people who've ever been in anything we've ever put on. And so once a week for the foreseeable future, we put an April date on it, but deadline on it, but we'll keep this going for the foreseeable future. I'm here for you. These will be group calls, and I will do share some insights and thoughts from the week that's just gone, or anything I've got that might be of value to you. And you can ask anything you want in this chat box. So right now, if there's something you want coaching on, if you have a question, put it in there right now, and I'll get through as many of them as I can each time we do these calls. I can't promise to get to every single one of you. But if you're sitting here right now thinking, well, let me hold back, I'll wait for someone else to go first. Well, how we do anything is how we do everything. Where else do you show up like that? This is a time more than ever to say, if there's something that I want, let me just ask for it. And so please don't hold back. Don't feel, well, I used to be a client of Rich's. Maybe I shouldn't ask because people here haven't yet been one-on-one clients, or the reverse. Well, I've never been a client. I can see some people who have been clients. I've just been to one intensive. I shouldn't ask. This is your opportunity to ask for what you want. And we'll see what happens. Sometimes we ask for what we want and we don't get it. But if you don't ask, you're 100% guaranteed not to get what you want. Okay, let me share a few things while you post some things in here. Oh, hi Laura, I see. All right, great, it's great. Got some great stuff going on already. Yeah, I'm going to read a couple of things to you. When life gets scary, there's only ever one answer. Take 5 long, deep breaths. So let's do that in this moment, because I can talk about it or we can embody it. So whenever you're ready, on the next in-breath, fill your belly, fill your chest right up to the backs of your shoulders. And breathe out a little slower than you would do normally. Do the same again. Fill your belly, fill your chest, right up to the backs of your shoulders. Allow each in-breath to be a little bit longer than the one before. And make a sound if you can, if no one can hear you, and even if people can hear you. I've lost count, but it doesn't matter. I think it's number 4. Take an in-breath, fill your belly, fill your chest right up to the backs of your shoulders. Move your body if you can. Anytime we get stuck up here in fear, we freeze a little bit. Move your bodies, just wiggle, dance, be silly. Take one more deep in-breath, fill your belly, fill your chest right to the backs of your shoulders. And hold this breath in as long as you can. And then breathe out with a sigh whenever you're ready, as long and as loud as you dare. Hi, Dominique. Hey. When life feels scary, take 5 long, deep breaths. And then, if you're thinking too much, and most of us who are coaches, it's easy for us to get in our head, make a list of 5 things you're grateful for right now. Write down 5 things you're grateful for. If you're thinking too much in any moment, just write down 5 things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as my kids, the food I had for breakfast. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you're feeling too much, if you're overwhelmed by your feelings, move your body till you're out of breath. I don't care what that means for you. 10 push-ups, 20 jumping jacks, run around the block, run around your garden. If you're thinking too much, write down 5 things you're grateful for. If you're feeling too much, move your body till you're out of breath. And repeat either of those as needed. What I'm reading to you is something I've put into a newsletter. The newsletter normally goes out on about 3 a.m. Pacific time on a Wednesday. It will go out later on today. So this is, you'll get it in writing in your inbox. But if life feels scary, take 5 long, deep breaths. If you're thinking too much, write down what you're grateful for. If you're feeling too much, move your body till you're out of breath. When the future feels uncertain, take a moment to focus on the past and the present. The past. Write down 5 specific things you've accomplished in the last 5 days. It's so easy when you're future-based thinkers, and we are anyway, we're visionaries, most of us. We're always out there in the future. When times are uncertain, you don't want to be out there. Look back on the past. What 5 things have you accomplished in the last 5 days? What 2 things did you accomplish in the last 24 hours? Write them down. And then for the present moment, write down 1 thing you're confident about. Now that's present moment confidence, not future-based hope. Well, I'm confident I'm going to get a new client next week. No, that's hoping. You don't know about that. I'm confident that I've got great coaching skills. I'm confident that being with my kids this morning, I gave them a sense of comfort. Present-based confidence. When life feels scary, take 5 long, deep breaths. When the future feels uncertain, reflect on the past and the present. And when you're wondering what to do, ask yourself 3 questions. How can I help? Who can I help? And who can help me? When you're wondering what to do, ask yourself 3 questions. How can I help? Who can I help? And who can help me? I put a lot more into the newsletter this week, 10 distinctions to really help you in uncertain and challenging times. And I'll get it out to you later on today. Let me jump into what you guys are asking me. So Laura, will you unmute so I can see you and we can We can talk. Hi, Laura.
Hi.
Hey. Laura lives up the road to me, but it feels like a million miles away right now because we can't leave our homes, right?
It certainly does. Yeah.
So you had an interesting meeting yesterday that
Yeah.
you've been looking forward to for a long time. Can we say out loud who it was with? Or is it confidential?
Yeah, we can say who it's with.
Okay. So tell me who it was with and tell me how I can help you.
So it was with the OWN, Oprah's TV network, and it was with her executives. It's not for coaching, as you know. I'm talking with them about that in another area, but it was fucking hard. it was really challenging. You know, I'm a business person, but I didn't go to school for business. And I'm sitting in this meeting talking about this. I don't want to say what the thing is. I know I've mentioned it to you, but talking about this thing, and it's never been done before. And it is a risk that they would have to take. And who am I? I mean, they even said, you know, if we bring this to her and she's like, well, who is this? You know? And they're throwing out acronyms I don't know. And I mean, I'm proud of myself how I handled being in that situation confidently. And at the same time, whenever I brought on a couple business partners to support me on the tech side of things. And whenever I talk with them or whenever I leave a meeting like this, there's like this wave of tears that comes over, like this little girl that's totally uncertain, has no idea what I'm doing. How did I even get at a meeting like that? You know, and they were lovely. And they said, here's what we need from you. You need to be able to answer these questions so that when we do present it to her and to our teams, it's going to be seamless. They're not going to have to ask these questions. And there's a part of me that's like, I don't fucking know. It's never been done before. I can't answer the questions. I didn't go to business school. I don't, I know what I'm offering is deeply supportive for them and for the world right now, but I don't know how to, you know, there's a part of me that's like, it's just too much work. I don't know how to get there. And yeah, so I've been sitting, I didn't sleep well last night. I've just been sitting with all of that.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Laura. I feel you in this moment. Let me say something to everybody else for a moment to make them smile. Quality freaking problem, right? You're going to make a proposal to Oprah and her network, and it's a bit overwhelming. Anyone else would like that as a problem? So I say that with it just to bring a smile to your face, Laura. And we can help you. We can help you with this one. First of all, here's a distinction around imposter syndrome. Most people hope that one day they'll finally grow up enough that they never feel imposter syndrome. And I teach the opposite. I say, if you don't feel a sense of imposter syndrome, like, who am I? How the hell did I get here? I couldn't possibly do this. Then you're not playing big enough. So I really want to acknowledge you for playing a really amazing game right now. They wouldn't be having that meeting with you if they didn't trust you enough. They have a filter that's up here. That you got through that filter means they trust you. Now they're testing you. But they already trust you.
Yeah, that part's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Because I don't, you know, I've mentioned to you, I met the president, I asked her for a meeting and she's like, okay, here, meet these people. So to me, it's like, what?
Yeah, so you could be right. Maybe the president of the OWN network screwed up. Like she was completely fooled by the bullshit that you speak. And despite years of creating and curating one of the most successful companies out there, having a filter that's that high to one of the most successful and wealthiest people on the planet, somehow you fooled her, pulled the wool over her eyes, and she screwed up, and the whole team screwed up, and you got under their radar and fooled them.
Right. Totally.
So what help do you need? Because there are enough people in our community that can and will, without a doubt, help you to do the things that you don't know how to do. If there's something that I'm procrastinating on, and I catch myself, I know that only one of two things are going on. If I'm not doing something and putting it off, it means either I'm afraid or somebody else should do it. But I don't normally catch that, and I just procrastinate. And when I've trained my team to say, hey, this was supposed to be done here, you haven't done it, what's going on? Are you afraid of something, or should someone else be doing this? And then I can go, oh, yeah, this is what I'm afraid of. Or, oh my God, yes, someone else should be doing this. So, yeah.
Yeah, I should be doing it because this is what I need to learn if I'm gonna, if they're gonna buy it from me. But I need help with the languaging of how to put the deck together, because I've never done it before.
Right. So let me ask, if anyone in this group right now has ever put a deck together as a proposal for Bob's hand's already up. Bob worked as a high-level executive at IBM for 30 years. So first person I saw, and I saw other hands go up just now. Would you please post in the chat, you guys, and put the name, put Laura, and then a colon or a dash, and then write your name. And then Laura in a minute will be able to go through those and message you privately and perhaps connect offline. So here's the thing. If any of you have been to my intensives, you see we play this game called Hey Yo. It's what we do in 4PC these days. If you have a request, what do you want? And literally asking out loud for what you want, suddenly that thing that seemed impossible is always so much closer than you imagine. And right there in that moment, just like I said, the first person I saw, a senior level executive at IBM for 30 years, raises his hand and says, yes, I can help you. And I know and trust Bob, and I have not a single doubt that if it was only him alone, you'd get what you needed. And I saw a bunch of other hands go up, and I can only see one screen out of 4 right now of all these different faces. Oh, there's a man called Mark Silverman who's just said, Laura, easy, I can help. Wow.
Hey, Mark.
A man who is comfortable in C-suite, the C-suite, a man who worked as, sold over $90 million of complex technologies to C-suite executives in his previous career, and now coaches high-level executives. I mean, already I'm seeing stuff show up in here. So let's pause and take a breath. Yeah. Laura, you good for this moment?
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got your back. And thank you for everyone who said you can support. This is how we will get through what's coming right now. This idea I'm talking about, serve, serve, serve. The prosperous coach approach was always a long-term approach to getting clients. It was never about how do you get a client today, tomorrow. It's always about long-term serving. Now more than ever, you've got to have this long-term approach. If you need cash, there are other things you need to do right now. Everything from pausing your mortgage payments to seeking a loan, to even bankruptcy can be a business tool. If you need cash, you've got to play a different game. If you don't need cash urgently, you've got to play this long-term game of serving in different ways. And someone who serves Laura like right now, who knows where this can come back? I know from the immediate hands going up, nobody was going, ooh, if I help her, I could get it. You came from service, but if you put enough energy out, it always comes back. Thanks, Laura. let me scroll up again. Christine, where are you? Yeah. Hey, Christine Conforti. Christine, give me a wave and come on, because I'm going to see what screen you're on. Hi. Long time no speak, Christine.
Hi, thank you so much for offering this space.
Yeah, yeah. So I know you have a client who's a congressional candidate. Tell me more. How can we support you in this one?
So actually, I'm the congressional candidate.
Oh, wow.
And I have been for almost 10 months. Just to kind of synthesize what's been said, I'm realizing in this moment, I don't need cash, but I need votes for a very specific phase of the campaign that is around the Democratic Party having an endorsement convention. It's very specific to New Jersey, but what that means is around 700 people deciding who they think should be the party's endorsed candidate. And I am procrastinating communicating fully through mass emails and Facebook, because this entire campaign has been about conversations. It's been about applying the prosperous coach to politics. And I was, up until this self-quarantine, going door to door to every single person who votes at this stage. And I had to stop that on Saturday and finish up with like 230 handwritten notes. The closest I can get to being personalized was like writing on a Post-it note.
Yeah.
And then I completed that yesterday, and I have, rightfully so, some people on my team who are, you know, encouraging me to post on Facebook, send mass emails, like all things that I know will absolutely be necessary when this turns into a campaign of reaching thousands of people. And I'm afraid for a couple reasons. I guess before this call, I didn't realize what was holding me back, but currently in the moment, there's a small group of people, you know, I have an opponent in this primary who's also in the same political party. And there's just a small group of loud, mean people online. And my fear is posting something and just it being, you know, I guess making myself vulnerable to that. At the same time, I think I just need to accept that's the level of leadership I'm choosing to step into. But I've felt pretty paralyzed the past few days of like, how do I lead in this moment? Because the way that I know how to give comfort and support is exactly what we're all doing here together. And I guess one of the excuses that come up is, you know, not everyone, you know, if I posted it to all the constituents that are currently on my Facebook, it feels like there's a level of practice and permission and willingness to have this depth of conversation. At the same time, that's exactly what I'm trying to bring into politics. And I just feel a little bit between a rock and a hard place. And like, it is clearly fear and vulnerability of, I guess in this phase, having mean feedback that leads to losing votes to this endorsement, which that process will end. There's a vote on Sunday, and then there's a vote that's
So
happening
Christine,
by mail right now.
Let me slow you down for a second.
Okay.
Take a couple of deep breaths. I really want to acknowledge you. Wow, it's amazing what you're doing. And nobody stands to be a congressional candidate unless they want to make a difference in the world. And you really want to make a difference. And that's amazing. And I want to honor you for that.
Thank you.
Really. And it's hard being out there, putting yourself out there. You guys may have seen, if you haven't, please jump in it. I created a Facebook group called Serve, Lead, Serve for coaches at this time, just for a wider community. And in 72 hours, we've got 1,000 people in it. And on Sunday, I got in. It's just another way I can serve people. And on Sunday, I got in the group. And I'd written this post asking people, how are you doing right now? And I put in it a quote. There's a quote, you may have seen it recently because it's very apposite for this moment in time. So I had to paraphrase, I can't remember it. You know, there are some times when a week feels like a decade, and a decade feels like a week. It's been one of those weeks that felt like a decade, right? And the quote points to that. And the quote's by Lenin. But it's a powerful quote, and I put it in there, and I wrote a whole piece, and I just said, tell me how you're doing. And everyone genuinely answered how they're doing, what it's like with their kids, what's happening. And one woman wrote it, and she wrote, Rich, I can't believe you're casually quoting Lenin. That's like quoting Hitler. And I just felt, oh my God, I just felt so upset and hurt and defensive. And I made myself take a breath and go walk away. And I came back and I wrote to her and said, hey, this post is genuinely asking how you're doing. How are you? And she wrote back, I just want to know why you're quoting Lenin right now. This is shocking, or something like that. You know what I did? I removed her from the group and I unfriended her. I felt guilty, but life's too short. And now I don't even know her name. I've forgotten her name. So she's just gone from my life like that. It's intense. And I'm not standing for a Congress. I'm not doing what you're doing. I'm just showing you that it's very real. One person, one little line, even though I know how ridiculous it was, I spent the whole day thinking about this. I still feel it. And there is a reason for this. That's the personal. The universal is that in most of human history, if you stood up, if you had a point of view, you didn't get to pass your genes on. You were killed. The tribe didn't like you. You didn't die. You didn't survive. Women, even more than for men. For most of human history, you couldn't be a strong woman with a point of view. You would die. To this day, it's still happening for people around the planet. It's not safe. And online, it doesn't feel very safe either. People get death threats and all sorts of things. So I really feel for you. It's very real what you're feeling. And I didn't want to take that away and move on with solutions until I acknowledge, I really get why you might be in this place right now.
Well, that helps take out the second arrow, as they call it. Just to kind of accept, of course, this is natural.
It is. It is. So here's something else, a distinction that might be of value right now. This is a generalization, but there's some truth in this generalization that women tend to be paid less than men. Oh, Christine, I lost you on my screen. I think someone's changed their video. So where are you now? Give me a wave, Christine. I lost you now. You disappeared. Keep waving. Oh, there you are. Okay. So when people turn the video on and off, my little screens move around. Women are often paid less than men and don't get opportunities that men get. And research has shown that's often, it's partly because of patriarchal society. I'm not getting into the social side of things, but it's partly because women don't ask as much as men do. And new regulations are coming in California. You know, no one is allowed to ask what your previous salary was, because you may have a history of lower salaries purely because you didn't ask for what you wanted, and or weren't able to people who weren't willing to give it to you. There's one place where women are willing to absolutely ask for what they want. It's called the mama bear effect. Women have been shown to pull cars off the leg of their children. They get superhuman strength. I've seen my wife, when our kids were really young, out in the street and she thought they were in danger or someone was coming too close, turn on this power that scared me. And you can channel the mama bear effect. When there's a mission that a woman has that is powerful enough, and she gets in touch with that mission, she will ask for what she wants, she will say what she wants, she will speak truth to power, she will do what needed to be done. And it may be time in this moment to channel the mama bear effect.
Yes, and it feels the aspect of myself that is also creating the negative criticism from a few. It feels like the mama bear effect in me, or that speaking truth to power, or that being a bold, very young woman with creative different ideas is the thing that triggers things in some other people.
Okay, so I'm going to play differently. Whilst that might be true,
yeah,
I'm going to put it to you that it's your belief that I'm too young, I shouldn't be doing this, am I the right person, is this the right time? That's what counts. If I told you, Christine, I think you're terrible at knitting, you are the worst person on the planet at knitting, that's the reaction I get, because either it turns out you're an amazing at knitting and you just laugh because it's not true, or most likely is you've never knitted in your life and it doesn't have anything on you when I say you're terrible at knitting. But if I say, hey, you're too young to be doing this, who are you to be doing this? It's only those thoughts inside of us where we believe that's true have us get triggered. And so there's a little work you got to do on yourself about, you know what, I'm one of the gifts I bring is my youth. This is what Laura's got to get for being with her own network. When they say, like, who are you? You've never done this before. What have you done in business? She has to turn that into an asset. You know what? If you want someone who's got an expert in business, there are a million people out there who can do that. In fact, you're the experts in business. You don't need another expert in business. If you want someone to give a perfect pitch, there are people out there who can do that. I'm not coming with a perfect pitch. I'm coming with a perfect mission. This is a mission that I have that inspires me and will inspire you and your people. And that's the end. I can feel I have to channel this right now. For you too, Christine, you've got to channel that.
Yeah. It's just conviction. It's just pure passion and conviction. No matter what you're talking about, that's what's ultimately transmitted. Thank you.
So let me ask a question. Is there anyone in the group right now who's been involved in politics, either local or national, who may have some guidance or advice or support for Christine? Or maybe you know someone. And that's more specific, so there may not be anyone right now. Is there anyone? My screen's of hand is waving. All right, I see Wendy's waving her hand. Anyone else got a hand up right now? Okay, so Wendy and anybody else can go to the chat box. If you click on the little blue button, it will change the names and you can send it to everybody. You can send a private message right now to Christine. Christine, I love you. I believe in you. You've got this.
Thank you, Rich. I'm only doing this because I've been through work with you and many other coaches. It's the only reason why I feel prepared.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And you are needed more now than ever before. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Christine. Let's bring April on. April, hi. Hey. Can you unmute yourself, April?
Hi, Rich.
Hello, hello.
Okay.
I can. So I saw what you wrote. Tell me in real time, how can I support you right now?
I have a group coaching program. This is the second team that I'm building for this group coaching program. I was brought in women into this first iteration of the group coaching program, and it was great. I'm getting ready to make the second ask, the second team, if you will, and I'm noticing a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, especially in a time of where we're living, and it feels like, is this the right time to ask for people to come in? Is this the right time to ask for money, right? For something people want. Clearly, the women in the program have been served. They want it, but I'm feeling a lot of anxiety about it. And I'm getting ready to make personal invitations. People I've connected with who said previously when the doors were closed, they were just like, yes, tell me all about it when you're ready to do the next wave. I need to make those introductions, those invitations, and I'm feeling like, is this the right time? Maybe this is the wrong time. Maybe I'm being selfish. Maybe this shouldn't be business as usual kind of thing.
I get it. Let's play with you. I'm going to dive in a little bit fast with people today so I can get to as many of you as possible. Let me tell you a story, April. One of my clients right now was a very successful DJ in the 1990s, and then became an entrepreneur, done all sorts of things in business, has a passion for old style pinball machines, and has built his entire basement of his house is like an arcade. And two parts to this story. One, he was thinking the other day, how can I help in this moment in time? And he invites groups of kids and schools to come over to play on this arcade. People love it. He realized the question is, how can I help right now? Who can I help? Well, everyone who has an arcade right now must be struggling because you can't have anyone in there anymore. And he's in a couple of online forums for people who run arcades. Who knew they even existed, right? But those people have their own communities. And he went into them and said, hey, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. I help people to think differently. If you have an arcade and are wondering, how can you survive in these next few months? Maybe I can help. Do you want to jump on a call with me? And he's got all these people coming onto these calls so he can help them with his unique, very specific way of supporting. On the other side of things, he also told, I'm not sure where he puts his stuff out into the world, but just yesterday, somebody bought a pinball machine for him. Let me hit mute for everyone. That's okay. Oh, was that you, April, in your background? Okay, you can unmute then again. Someone else unmuted for some reason. Yesterday, he sold a $10,000 pinball machine. So be careful we don't get caught up in what this story means about what's happening in the world. That there are people who have money, and if there's something that is of value for them, who knows? Maybe they bought it for their family. And right now, they've got 5 kids, and it's a way to engage their kids. Maybe it's something that's inspired them for years, and finally, they're like, well, now more than ever, I'm going to buy that machine. Who knows? I want to get you out of your story about what should I do right now. If you've got something of value for people, there are certain people at any time who will want that value.
I know it's true. Intellectually, emotionally, I'm having trouble connecting to that truth.
I'm wondering whether I'm literally wondering in real time whether to make this real or not, because it's an idea I'm playing with and it's not fully formed yet right now. But I'll make it real for you right now, April. I think I'm going to offer something that I've never offered in the world before. You know, it's $100,000 to work with me as my apprentice, but it dawned on me at this moment in time, there are lots of people who might want coaching. What if I put on a group coaching program for 25 people, and it was $2,500 for 100 days with me. And for 100 days at this moment in time, you could have me working with you in a small group. And the reason I'm hesitating, because it's not fully formed, but rather than hide this from you, I'm thinking, what if I create something really unique, really different? And it's just for this fixed period of time. It's not going to be there forever. But what if I could serve right now with something different? Unusual times call for unusual actions. Now, I'm doing two things. I'm really out there serving people in all sorts of ways. But I'm also thinking, I do have ways that I can offer. And while someone right now might not be ready to pay the prices that I charge for other things, I could put something out that's a little different. And I'm still in conversations with people, by the way, just so you know, about some of my other offerings at a higher price. But it dawned on me, what if I put out something for $2,500 for 100 days with me in a small group, and I'm just coaching you like this, week after week. And you'd have my cell phone number, so on WhatsApp, we could communicate, and you could ask any question over that time. So that's the first time I've said it out loud. I was articulating it in my head last night, but I feel really good about that. In real time, you just watch that happen. I feel really, really good. Like there is something I could create that could be of real value to create a small community for a 100-day moment in time. You could feel great about putting an offer out to the world.
Yeah, I think what's occurring for me, thank you, is the idea that I need to stay in the position of serving and not the position of like, hey, I'm going to make an ask. I'm making an invitation to help people get what they want and what they need. And that's a good reminder. So thank you.
Yeah. It's always an invitation, even if it's 3 weeks ago and they'd said, hey, when you're ready, invite me. And 3 weeks ago, you reached out to them. Whenever anyone gets on a call with me, even if they say, I want to talk about being your one-on-one client, being in 4PC, whatever it is, the first thing I say is, well, I can talk about logistics in 5 minutes. Let me serve you. How many of you have been on a call with me where you got on to talk about something to do with working with me in different ways, and all I did was just be there and coach you and serve you? How many of you have ever had that experience with me? That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm doing, April. It's always about serving first. Thank you. Thanks, April. By the way, you guys, I'm feeling a lot of energy in my body because that was an idea I had last night, and I just, in real time, I thought it'd be of value for April, and I was a bit nervous about saying it, and I had to model of, yeah, there is something of value here. So it's okay to feel discomfort, fear, that you're not going to get it right. Anytime I've ever put a program out into the world, the first time I've said it out loud, I've been tongue-tied and it's come out wrong. In fact, Mark, who's here on the screen right now, was the first person to raise his hand and say, I'll be in, along with Alison. I forget which one of you did it first. I got tongue-tied at an event 7 years ago, I think, 6 years ago, saying, I've got this idea for 4PC. It came out so badly. And then I took a break, and I came back after the break, and I apologized, and I said to the room, hey, I'm embarrassed. I sounded like a great idea, and I just didn't know how to say it properly. And I began to doubt myself even as I said it. And Alison and Mark put their hands up and they said, we're in. We're in more now because you messed up and didn't say it and make it like the brilliant pitch. We're in because we trust you, and we know if you're going to create something, it will be powerful. And that's when I realized, and it turns out 6 years later, it's been extraordinary. And you don't have to get it right the first time around. Thanks, April. How are we doing for time? 20 more minutes. Let me look through your questions. Oh, I'd love to hear, actually, can you guys post in the chat below, share an insight you've got? Like what's one insight you've had so far that you can take away from this call? One insight or one question that you're taking away from the call. I'm much more about questions than answers. What's one question you're going to leave with? Oh, how could I do X, Y, Z? An insight or a question. Let me have a look at what other questions I've got here. Rita, I'm not going to go deep onto this one. I feel for you. You've got all these leaders you're supporting right now, and they feel lost. They don't know how to lift their teams. And you feel like you're not the right person to support them. It's painful. And how can I ensure I can support? I'd say it's time to channel what I said to Christine. It's time to get into that mama bear effect and get clear. What's your purpose? What's your mission? If these people need support, don't hold back. This is your time. You cannot get it wrong. You can't mess this one up. Go ahead, Rita. I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just need to speak to what you're saying there. You see, I am the biggest mama bear that you can probably come across, because I've saved my sons from dying when he was 2 and he's today 25, and I've lived that. So one of my challenges in this scenario is that I'm working with these leaders who are so overwhelmed, don't know how to deal things. And what shows up for me is there are solutions, and I find myself where I'm actually I'm too hard with them. I'm like, you know what? It's time. You need to wake up. You can't dwell in this anymore. We need to wake you up. We need to shake you up. And sometimes I feel that I'm doing it too kind of hard, that I feel that I'm not supporting them anymore, because sometimes I know you need to go down and be in suffering in order to change. So it's like I feel, God, I'm so much a mama bear, and I can see their power so strongly that I fear that I'm now in the arena where I shouldn't be anymore. And that really scares the shit out of me, because I know my power and I know what I'm capable of doing, but am I at the wrong place at the moment?
Thanks for sharing that. I'm modeling for you in real time what I'm about to share with you. So I went into a solution. I saw your message in the chat and said, hey, here's what you need to do. Then I saw your hand up, and part of me wants to move on to get to other people. I thought there's, you know the answer. I thought, well, let me just check in with you. I saw your hand raised. And then I bit my lip, bit my tongue, and just let you speak. Because right now, more than anything, people need to be heard. And your leaders need to be heard first. If you jump into solutions before they feel heard, before they get a chance to express what's going on, they can't hear you. So with all of my clients right now, I'm giving an hour's call. I'm giving about a quarter of that time to say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? How are the kids? How's your mum? And just let them talk. And about 15 minutes in, I'll pause and say, hey, I'm happy to listen to you more if you like, but I'm curious, what's the biggest challenge you have right now? Really, those two questions, what's going on and what's the biggest challenge you have right now, the only two questions I need. And there's no preamble when I ask that question, what's the biggest challenge you have? They go right there every time. I got on a call the other day with someone who's a potential client, and I said, how's life? And he spent 10 minutes talking about his 85-year-old mother, how worried he is about her, what's going on, his 3 businesses, he's a parallel entrepreneur, his fears, his doubts, insecurities. And when he went about 15 minutes in, I said, tell me, I know this was a 30-minute call. I said, 10 minutes in, I said, tell me, what's the biggest challenge you're facing right now? And he told me one of his companies. And I said, would you like some help with that? And he went, oh my God, that would be amazing. And for 10 minutes, we brainstormed for that company. And he had so many ideas. He went, oh, Rich, that was amazing. Could we do that for my other company? He went, sure. And we spent 10 more minutes brainstorming for his other company. And he left with a sense of clarity, and he knew exactly what he needed to do. Your leaders are powerful. You know they are. Sometimes you just got to meet them where they're at. Thanks, Rita. I see the nods that you got this. And yeah, thanks, Rita. Okay, cool. And you guys see, I had to model in real time to give her a moment. I'm fast forwarding it because there's not much time. But Rita only needed 35 seconds to say what was going on, and she dropped down a little bit deeper. When you coach from a place of being, it's so much more powerful, because from a place of doing, there's always a list of things that can be done. There's always a strategy. There's always a checklist of what we ought to do. But if you're not in the right place to be doing that, you can't do it anyway. So you've got to give your clients a chance to drop back into being the powerful people they are. There's a time to slap them around, Rita, and tell them what they need to hear. And there's also time to listen to them so they can be in the same room as you. Okay, cool. Let me see what else I got from you guys. Let me answer Remain. How can you build and propose a group program or mastermind when you have no audience and just private one-on-one clients? And this is the prosperous coach approach. You just reach out to people one person at a time and say, hey, what's going on? Tell me your biggest challenge. How can I help? This isn't a time to be proposing a group program if you've never done it before. This is not a moment where people want to be sold to on the whole, but they do want to be served. They do want to be helped. And at some point, when you've helped them, some of them want more. That guy who I did that brainstorm with in a 30-minute call, he said, hey, can you help me with this? I said, you know what? I'll tell you what, I don't think you need coaching right now. What I think you need is a thinking partner. What if once a month we jumped on a call and all we did was brainstorm ideas for your businesses, because you're just a man of action. And, oh my God, that would be amazing. So I'm making this thing up called a thinking partnership that I'm putting out to him. You can make stuff up, you guys. Hey, Romain, I love you, man.
Hey, thank you, Rich. Love you too.
Thanks, man. Let's see who else I've got. Thanks, Dana. Thanks for your comments, you guys. Stephanie, will you unmute?
Yes.
Give me a wave. I can find you. Where are you?
Hey.
Okay. Hey, tell me what you got.
Okay, so I've been brainstorming with anyone who wanted some help at this time, either learning how to serve, learning how to restructure from home, or anybody who's just feeling scared and doesn't know what to do with their time. So I had a friend reach out and was like, me, and I said, well, of course. So we did a call, and she's a creative, and she said, from time to time you offer me bits that's been really helpful. I'm looking for a creative coach. Would that be weird? And is that something we can chew on? I guess we just have to establish, I love our friendship is basically what she said, and I wouldn't want it to, get in the way of our friendship. So I was just thinking about that.
Great. I've coached numerous friends over the years. I coached one friend and I fired him as a client, and our friendship grew because of it. And here's why. I created really powerful agreements before we began. Got really clear. Stephanie, I'm just going to mute everyone right now, and then you can unmute because there's some background noise. So unmute you. Okay, here we go. Really clear and powerful agreements. And, is that your kids? Okay. And where are you, Stephanie, right now? Where are you living right now?
I'm in France.
Yeah. And you're out in the...
One moment, Tori. I'll be right back. Sorry.
I've been doing coaching calls with my kids jumping in and they're hanging off me, and so I'm with this right now. So you've got to create a really clear agreement. And so saying to her, hey, look, I'm willing to coach you, but you need to understand that the moment we're on a coaching call, I'm your coach and I'm not your friend. If you want a friend, I'm going to do what friends do. I'm going to love you. I'm going to nurture you. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to believe in you. I'm going to champion you. If I'm your coach, there are times when I'll do that. And there are times when I will say to you things that nobody else would dare to say. If I'm your coach, there are times when you're going to hate me because of the things that I challenge you with. And oh yeah, mute, thanks. Are you okay with that? Is that what you're ready for? And if so, and what other agreements do you need? An agreement around confidentiality. I have an agreement with clients who are friends that we will never discuss coaching outside of a Zoom call or a one-on-one session. I won't ever say at a social event, not really social events right now, but I won't ever say in other moments, hey, how's life? Or if we're just chatting on the phone as friends, I won't go, how's that coaching thing going on? I create a watertight agreement. And when I fired this guy, because he wasn't showing up powerfully, I said to him, you have a choice point right now. I'm going to fire you as a client, and you have a choice. You can choose to see this as be in resentment, be angry this didn't work out, or you can say, how could I turn being fired as a client into the most powerful coaching I've ever got? And he went there, and he talks about it now. He was grateful for that moment because it woke him up to what he needed to do.
Wow, thank you so much. Absolutely. Much love. Thank you.
Stephanie, can I share just a tiny piece of your story with the group? Because Stephanie, if you have to go to be with the kids, I understand. I'm going to share a tiny piece of Stephanie's story, and I may not get it perfectly right. But Stephanie, I believe it was 16 years ago, was diagnosed with an illness, and she was told she had only a few years to live. And am I right on the timing, Stephanie?
Yes.
Yeah. 16 years later, here Stephanie is with her kids, thriving, out there serving people. And so at this moment in time, it's such a powerful story that Stephanie has. Hey, that, you know, doctors in the West are very good at diagnosis. They're not very good at prognosis. And pundits, if you're watching the news right now, they're good at diagnosis. They can tell you how many people have got a disease called coronavirus and how many people have passed away. We have no clue what's coming. We really don't. We don't know how long this will last, how short it will last. The Second World War, one of the worst periods of relatively modern human history, 6 years, was also a period of the most innovation in modern human history, in any human history. Most innovation ever. We began the Second World War with soldiers riding into battle on horses and ended with nuclear weapons. Take aside the military aspect of that. In all sorts of field, the innovation that came during challenging times, it's been the same throughout history. And Stephanie, your inspiration for me around we can hear a diagnosis and do what's needed to take care of ourselves, but not buy into the story of what other people say is going to happen in our lives and in our world. I'm glad you're here, Stephanie. Yeah, thanks. Okay, let's see what else I've got. You guys doing okay? All right, thanks. I'm just trying to be there, just going up to one after another. So let's see what else I've got here. Faith, I'm not going to coach you right now, but get past your story. If you've got something valuable to bring right now, just bring it. If it's a podcast, it doesn't matter if 3 people listen to it. If 3 people listen to it, you've done something of value in the world. It's time for all of us to get past our fears. Yeah. Let's see what else I got for you guys. Christine asked, do the principles of the prosperous coach approach change in this unusual circumstance? No, I've been reflecting on that because I've written, it will come out to you guys later. I've written this thing called the Coaching in Challenging Times Playbook. And once I'd finished it, I realized, oh, there's nothing in here that isn't true in ordinary times. You just have to double down. You have to double down on serving people. You have to double down on the long-term approach. You have to double down in being there for people. Oh, thanks, Faith. Over 10 years ago was the first time I served you and was working with you. That's great. Thank you for the insights, guys. I love seeing the insights you've got. Let's see what else I've got. Okay, I realize I've got 95 messages here. I'm trying to scroll through this slowly. Let's pause for a second. Let's check in. I acknowledge I can't get to every one of your questions in this moment. And we're going to do this week after week. I'm here for you. We also have a Facebook group. If you just put my name into Facebook, you'll find it on the last couple of posts, my recent post I wrote about it, or you just put serve, lead, serve into the search box and it will come up. Just apply to be a member of that group. And I'm going to put soon a thread up there around taking your questions. You do need to tap into some real power inside of you. Each of us is going to have to dig deep a little bit for a while now. We have an intensive coming up. Some of you are signed up to be there and some of you have been at previous ones. And I've been reading for a while, for a couple of months. I follow some interesting people in the world of investing and people who live with risk for their job, for their career. And those people were ahead of the curve around looking at what was going to happen with coronavirus. So it felt like I was a little bit ahead myself. And I saw what was coming and I decided with our intensive that we would, instead of putting it off and saying, hey, we'll push it down the road a few months, we don't know when, but we'll let you know, and having all these people who said they're going to be with us just now wondering when is it going to happen and not getting the value that they signed up for, I made a judgment call that we would serve people now. We'd turn it into some kind of virtual experience. We'd expand it from 4 days to 21 days. We'd try and put in as much as we could to create value for people. And it really felt like that was the best way we can serve people right now. It was a hard decision. We've only ever done live events before. I could have made a lot of money doing live stream events, but we said everything we do is so experiential, we don't want to do that. But unusual times call for unusual decisions. And we said, well, what if that wasn't true? What if it's been true in the past, but it could be different in the future? So we decided to create something that was of value for people right now. And then about 3 or 4 people wrote to me. Most people, we had a handful of people who wrote to us and said, that's fantastic. They were so thrilled they could get support right now. A lot of people didn't even communicate. It was just like they were just in. And about 3 or 4 people wrote to me upset. One person wanted an immediate refund, and someone else, a couple of people shared with me what Tony Robbins is doing. Apparently Tony was saying, you can come to a future event, not this one, but we'll also give you some other things as gifts out in the future. And I really sat long and hard. I looked at each of those people who wrote to me. I looked back at the questionnaires they'd answered for us. I saw that the person who'd asked for a refund, she'd already told me in her questionnaire that she'd recently been fired from a job, and she was so grateful she'd paid for this intensive before she got fired. Otherwise, she probably would never have done it because she'd have been afraid. So it made sense. So of course, in this moment now, she's gone back to her fear. And I made her a video. I told her why I'd made this decision. Made it a video, a private video for other people here, just one at a time. I wanted to reach out to them, not to change their mind, but to tell them where my thinking was coming from. That I wanted to really serve people right now. One of them wrote back to me immediately, said, Rich, I can't believe that you would write to me and make me a personal video. Well, even our intensives with 150 people, I read every single questionnaire. And then I stopped and reflected and thought, oh, I don't have to just do this. I can do both. And it's okay to make, let me backtrack and give you the distinction. Here's the distinction. There's decision or there's indecision. When you're in fear, it's easy to be in indecision. But you can be in fear and indecision, or fear and make a decision. And fear and making a decision always leads to the next step. Fear and indecision, you're paralyzed and nothing can happen. So I was afraid, I was uncertain, I didn't know what I was doing. I made a decision. Hey, let's help people now. Let's turn this into a virtual intensive. Let's really be there for our community. They wanted us now. We can help them now more than ever, not put this off into the future. And then I could react and respond to what happened. And I responded. And then I realized we can do both. Why don't we write to everyone who's paid for a ticket to this intensive now and say, hey, you already invested in being here at a live event. We want to give you that. So we're going to serve you now. We've put this on as a virtual experience, and we're going to let you have a ticket to a future intensive whenever the next live one happens, and we'll gift you a ticket to a friend or a colleague at the same time. We made a decision, and then something happened. And then we made another decision, not from reaction, but from response. It's really easy right now to sit in indecision. Make a decision, take an action. It's okay to feel afraid and take an action, but it's far better to take action feeling afraid than to take no action feeling afraid. And then whatever happens, you'll do what's needed next, and you'll do what's needed next. And then it dawned on me, April, by the way, that, oh, well, since we're creating this virtual experience that people can work with us now, well, what if I reach out to everyone in our community and say, hey, some of you have always wanted to be at my events. For years, you've said to me, is there any way you do this virtually? It's just dawned on me that now we are. If you want help over the next 21 days, you can come and join us where I'll be coaching you in real time and teaching you. And we've already had people signing up who weren't originally planning to attend. I know I have something of value, and I'm not afraid to share it in the world. Look, I'm human. There's a part of me that has doubt. But when you have something of value and you're willing to share it, some people will go, oh my God, that's exactly what I need right now. Thank you, guys. I can feel my energy up, and my chest is a little bit tight. I haven't been breathing as deeply as I normally do. It's because I've wanted to go really fast and serve as many of you as I could today. And thank you for being here. Get on the Facebook group if you like. We've got this community that's grown really overnight into 1,000+ coaches, all sorts of amazing people there. And same time next week, I'll be here for you as long as needed. I'm here for you. I'd love for a moment, next 60 seconds, if you'd post an insight you've got, a thought, or something you want to share just before we go. Because before we go, I'm going to hit, there's a button here, I can download all the comments. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, gang. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and thanks for sharing the insights as well. I appreciate the gratitude and acknowledgements, and the insights are lovely. Yeah, hi Vaishnavi. Hey Luke, I'm glad you're here, man. Okay, while you guys are sharing that, let's do this. Let's all unmute at the same time. And we're going to send each other some love, send each other some energy. Let's go. Love you, gang. Bye, everyone.
Love you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank
Have a good one.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Today.
Thank you,
See you
Rich.
next week.
Thanks
Thank you,
for
gang.
Everyone.
See you next
Thank
week.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for the time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Next week.
Thank you. See you next week. It's been awesome.
Bye, everybody.
I feel like one of those calls with my girlfriend when I was 16. You put the phone down first. No, you put the phone down first. Right, I'm going to put the phone down. Bye, you guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Rich.